Aradhana. Okay, perhaps I'll wait for a minute or two so that people I can see are still coming in. And I've put some material that is not in the Trichy Plus white book. We will start from there, and I guess you can all see it in the respective groups, and then we will go to the Trichy Plus book. I'm just waiting for a minute more, and then we'll start. Okay, so I'm going to start. One more person has come in just now, right? After this, we will begin. Okay. So yes, I've captured the attendance. By the end of the class, again, I will take attendance. And in case anybody has come in between and then I've not taken you, kindly write in your respective groups. Okay. So I'm going to start with the material that I put up in the respective groups. Please open on to the material that is given, and that's not from the Trichy Plus book. It is outsourced. Okay, so I'm going to start. There is a reading comprehension, and based on that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 questions. So let's read, and we'll have time to discuss the questions. And eventually, at the end of the class, I will also share the answers with you. So I'm reading passage 43. Give me a thumbs up if you have found the article. The minute you give me a thumbs up, I will start. I should get many people giving me a thumbs up because it's in the group. But anyway, I see Kirtika, I see Ramya, and what about the others? Yeah, Guru. So if 3 people have found it, it's there. Now, yeah, thank you, Aradhana, also. I'm reading, and remember, there are bank students here. So there are people who are going in for Kirtana also. Thank you. Taking any kind of competitive examination. And most often, articles are extracted from different areas and shared. So I'm starting to read. Some readers wondered whether my reading of the crisis in the news media is about journalism or about the news industry. So where does the problem lie is what the author is saying. Is it about journalism or is it about the industry? Though the fortunes of the news industry have a bearing on journalism, there is indeed a difference between looking at issues that govern journalism and the factors that contribute to the financial stress of the media industry. So, sometimes journalism does not give you everything that a journalist wants to write, and there can be reasons behind why this is happening. Over the last few years, I have been discussing the impact of digitalization on journalism. The pandemic. Now, what do we understand by pandemic? Endemic means happening in a particular area. When we have the root pan means universal. So, pandemic means happening all over the world. The pandemic has accelerated, made it faster. About what? The process of digital transformation of the news media. Therefore, these issues need close scrutiny. One of the defining elements of analog journalism was the way two crucial functions of journalism, bearing witness. What do we might mean by bearing witness? You saw what is happening. Bearing witness and making sense complemented, assisted each other, and helped people make informed choices. When I talk about the strength of analog, I am neither romanticizing, I'm not making it too attractive, I'm not making it too special, I'm not giving it any deep meaning. The past, nor am I Luddite. Who is a Luddite? A person who is against any new technology. Most importantly, I do not believe in nostalgia. What is not the meaning of the word nostalgia? Thinking about the past and saying everything in the past was so beautiful, there was nothing wrong with it. Many scholars have established and open quotations. Now, in this open quotation or close quotation means there are certain words which is taken from somebody else's speech. And here is an idiomatic expression. Many scholars have established, open quotes, how rose hyphen colored, so it becomes rose colored. Rose colored glasses always leads to an unfair distortion. So, if you look at something and you think everything is beautiful, life and reality is never like that. There's bound to be something negative. But we believe in thinking that everything is perfect, and there is this expression, looking through rose-colored lens, which means giving it a positive twist. And at the same time, the same phrase can also be converted into looking with jaundiced lens, meaning you're looking at it only in a negative manner. So, most importantly, I do not believe in nostalgia. Many scholars have established, open quotations, how rose-colored glasses always leads to an unfair distortion. Looking back on the best of the past while comparing it to the worst of the present. So, the best of what we had in the past and comparing it to absolutely what is going wrong or the worst in the present. Close quotation. Hence, when I talk about the digital information news environment, so today, news is conveyed so rapidly. It's the digital era. I am talking about how there needs to be a conducive means suitable, a conducive atmosphere for credible. Credible means it must be true, it must be correct. For credible information to resonate with people. Literature on misinformation, giving wrong information, disinformation, it is not correct again. So sometimes you give the wrong information. Sometimes you convey what is not correct. And malinformation, when on purpose you spread wrong information, reveal, shows a new distinction in the minds of the citizens. Editors and journalists have to contend, they have to face with new breed of skeptics. Who is a skeptic? A person who doubts you. These are the people who trust social media forwards more than evidence based, data driven journalism. Now, whatever information you give, whatever data you give, whatever hot news is immediately conveyed, it should be based on reliable information. It should be based on data rather than just go by hearsay or go in for scoop reporting. Their confirmation bias. What is a bias? A bias is a prejudice, a one sided opinion. Their confirmation bias flows from encrypted. Now, encrypted means some information is taken, converted into a code, and then sent. Why? So that no unauthorized person can have access to the information. Their confirmation bias comes from encrypted social media platforms that are full of conspiracy theories. Now, a conspiracy by itself means a group of people coming together and all wanting to do the same thing, conspiring, but in a negative way. So that's a conspiracy. And a conspiracy theory is, you come out with a lot of beliefs without any data to say that there is a secret group or a very influential, high powered group, or maybe organizations, or maybe an individual who has this control with other groups and is responsible for whatever phenomenon or event took place. So there will always be conspiracy theories. Okay. Now, this is just an extract, or in other words, it is an excerpt. Now, the questions that are put across, don't worry, you can get the answers only from the passage given to you. You don't need to go beyond, you don't need anything. From here, you start thinking and you start reasoning. So before we have only 5 questions. I will read the 5 questions to you. I'll explain the question, and if at all there's any difficult word there, even that I will explain. So I'm reading question number 178. And what's the main idea in this question? Which of the following conveys the main idea expressed in the passage? And it's only from this passage. Now, main idea is always a very standard question. Next, 179. There is an extract from the passage, and we have to find out what is the author assuming by these lines. In this line, open quotations, hence, when I refers to the author. When I talk about the digital information news environment, I am talking about how there needs to be a conducive atmosphere for credible information to resonate with the people. And the author assumes and he gives you 4 options. A, B, and D are direct statements. C option has a combination of whether it is A and B. 180 says, which of the following strengthens the author's argument? So, which supports the argument? That is what is meant by strengthens the author's argument. 181. What does the author indicate when he quotes? And again, open quotation, rose-colored glasses always leads to unfair distortion. Now, the word distort itself means to put it out of position. Okay. And therefore, when you use unfair distortion, so it means it's not fair. Finally, we have the last question. The author has severely targeted and criticized which one of the following factors of digital journalism? And we have 3 statements, and you have none of the above. So you find either you have all of the above as an option or none of the above as an option. This is also a very common factor when you get MCQ, multiple choice questions. Okay. I'll give you an opportunity of trying to do this by yourself, and then we will go for the answers. So, first, you have 5 questions. As I've always said, on an exam, you do not spend more than 1.5 minutes. Okay, here, if you're going to spend 2 minutes, it's okay. But please don't take longer than that. Then we will be stuck onto it because we also have another short passage to solve. So start working. Give yourself the opportunity of doing something. And then I will come in to guide you. Please start working. Somebody can, whichever you try to pick up, even if it's not in the order, if you're not starting with main idea, it's okay. Maybe you want to talk about what strengthens the author's argument. And according to the passage. So I'll give you a few minutes and then I'll start working together with you. Okay, let's see if somebody can do 178. Which of the following conveys the main idea expressed in the passage? And we have those who subscribe to newspapers are skeptics. According to the passage, this is not the main idea to talk about who is subscribing to a paper, whether they are skeptics or not skeptics. Those who subscribe to newspapers and news channels often contribute in distortion of the truth. And we didn't find that here. Now, social media journalism distorts the truth. Yes, Abhinaya, here they do have that line where they talk about how this social media, this is distorting. So please take option C for your main idea. Now, question number 179. What is the author assuming when he says, when I talk about digital information, I'm talking about how there needs to be a conducive atmosphere for true information to be passed on to the people. And remember, they said digital news is neither evidence-based nor data-driven. So whatever you get, if there is no proof, then that is not going to resonate or not going to make people believe with you. Okay, so out of A, B, and D, C is just a combination of the choices. The impact of digital journalism has created an informed platform of journalism. No, that is not spoken about, but yet we talk about digital news is neither evidence based nor data driven, and this is what the author assumes, and it does not help people in making informed choices. So please select C. Has anybody attempted 180? What will strengthen the author's argument? What is going to strengthen the author's argument? And this is why he says that the people who trust social media, and what do? These are the people who trust social media forwards more than evidence-based, data-driven journalism. And how do they get it? They get it from their conspiracy theories. So for 180, your answer is A. Your answer is A. Anybody working out 181 and 182? Or even you try 182, why is the author targeting and criticizing some factor of digital journalism. Why is he doing that? Because everything is not true. So based on credibility of information, that is why he is targeting and criticizing. So 182 is B, and 181, rose-colored glasses always leads to unfair distortion. So the author is saying, now, if you are going to compare analog journalism with digital, he does not have any bias. So rose-colored glasses will lead to unfair distortion. Please select B option. Right? Now we need to move on to the other passage. Please take passage number 23. Oh, sorry, passage 26. Is there anybody who wants to read in the class? You're welcome to read. Maybe Bharat, Guru. There could be also new friends who want to read. Fatima. I'll give you an option and then I'll start reading. Okay, I will read. Close. Have you got passage 26? Please give me a thumbs up. Okay, I can see people giving me a thumbs up, so I'm going to read from there. Close to 1 million people live in the, yeah, thank you, Fatima. Close to 1 million people live in the Brahmaputra basin in India. So Brahmaputra is the river. And tens of millions further downstream in Bangladesh. So as the river flows, people are living in that area. The sheer size of the infrastructure projects undertaken by China and increasingly by India poses a significant, what is significant? Very important threat to the populations living downstream. So if you want to put up a dam or you want to barricade anything, that is going to affect all the people who are living downstream. These constructions first eventually lead to degradation, bringing down the quality of that river, degradation of the entire basin. Massive, massive means huge, massive amounts of silt. The meaning of the word silt is any material, that is carried by the river water and it ultimately gets deposited. That is called silt. You even read in the papers just before the monsoons start, the civic authorities start desilting the different canals. If not, it will be blocked and it will lead to floods. So, the silt, this is what they mean by the silt. Massive amounts of silt carried by the river would get blocked by dams, leading to a fall in the quality of soil. So now all these minerals should pass on, only then the soil will get, in other words, it will become manure for the soil. And if there is something, there is a dam, it will get blocked. And it will affect the agricultural output. So eventual reduction in agricultural productivity. Second, the Brahmaputra basin is one of the world's most ecologically sensitive zone. It plays a very important role ecologically. The trees are there, the marine creatures are there. It is identified as one of the world's 34 biological hotspots. This region sees several species of flora and fauna. Flora and fauna just mean plants and animals that are endemic. Now, in the last reading, we read about pandemic. Here, endemic means it happens only in one specific area. So, endemic to only this part of the world. The Kaziranga National Park. Now, those of you who are writing bank exams, national parks, uh, conservatories, all this comes under even your quiz questions. So the Kaziranga National Park, apart from all other species, the main species is the one-horned rhino. The Kaziranga National Park houses 35 mammalian, coming from the word mammal, species, out of which 15 are recorded as threatened. So they are on the verge of becoming extinct as threatened in the IUCN. IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. I repeat, IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. In the IUCN conservation list, the river itself is home to the Gangetic river dolphin, which is listed as critically endangered, not only endangered, critically endangered. Third, the location of the dam. Now, to put up a dam, you've got to do a lot of building, a lot of blasting, and it will disturb the rock faces, it will disturb the tectonic plates. So, the location of the dams in the Himalayas poses a risk. Seismologists, these are scientists who study about earthquakes, any kind of activity with regard to earth, consider the Himalayas as most vulnerable. Vulnerable means extremely weak to earthquakes and seismic activity. Again, seismic activity means uh, vibrations in the earth, earthquakes, tremors, landslides resulting from earthquakes pose a significant threat. The 2015 Nepal earthquake and the resultant landscapes wiped out several dams and other facilities. There are alternate solutions to solving the water crisis. Both sides must cease new constructions on the river and commit. To commit here means to take an active point and to say that we won't do anything that is destructive, or to give you a word, commit to potentially less destructive solutions. Building a decentralized network of check dams, rain capturing lakes. You know that we have extremely heavy rains, and if you don't have the provision to capture this water, this will turn into another disaster. And how does that also happen? Because of deforestation. Rain capturing lakes and using traditional means of water capture have shown effective results in restoring the ecological balance while supporting the population of the regions in a sustainable manner. So people who live there, they depend on the natural resources. And if it is not sustainable, what will happen to the people? They will leave and they will go somewhere else. It is in the interest of all stakeholders. A stakeholder is a term which refers to a person who has a particular interest in any activity, any kind of business. So the term stakeholder refers to people who have some important interest in it. It is in the interest of all stakeholders to neutralize this ticking water bomb. Now, we always talk about time bombs. And the first thing they have to do is, to disconnect the connection so that it does not burst. Now, water is something that is equally dangerous. You cannot stop it. And they say this is a ticking water bomb. Okay. Now, there are questions based on only this article. I will read the question and I would like for you to try to answer. Question number 93. Which of the following is a threat to the people inhabiting the Brahmaputra basin as raised by the author in the passage above? So, look at all the options and which is a threat to the people. So, from the paragraph, they are going to do something and they're saying this will be the biggest dam, etc., etc. And how is it going to affect people? 94. The author's assumption in saying the Brahmaputra basin is one of the world's most ecologically sensitive zones is that, how does he come up with this passage? Why does he say the Brahmaputra basin? 95. Which of the following is not suggested by the author as an alternate solution to the water crisis? So out of these four options, the author did not give this point. That is what is meant. This is not suggested by the author. 96. Which of the following is not an implicit assumption in the author's statement about the Brahmaputra's basin, open quotes, it is identified as one of the world's 34 biological hotspots. Okay, and we are going to the final question, which is not true in context of the author's arguments in the passage above. Okay, so let's go to the first question. Which is a threat to the people who are living in that low-lying area that's called the Brahmaputra basin as indicated by the author? So now you have D, vulnerability to earthquakes and heightened seismic activity. He's talking about here in the paragraph that they are taking up projects, okay, for what purpose? They want to construct a dam. And if you construct dams in the Himalayas, and see, China wants to take up a project, and then how will the river get blocked? It will get blocked by a dam. And where is the dam going to be constructed? It's going to be constructed. Location of the dams in the Himalayas poses a risk. Now, after this explanation, can you try to look for the correct answer? Which will be the correct answer? I've explained the lines. Anybody making a choice? So the threat to the people who are living there, this is a big threat when they start constructing dams in the Himalayan region. So your answer is C. Please take the answer as C. The author's assumption that the Brahmaputra basin is one of the world's most ecologically sensitive zone. Why does he say this? He says this because he presumes that any slight imbalance in one area, any slight imbalance in one area the ecological imbalance will affect the entire biodiversity. Therefore, it is A option. Therefore, it is A option. Now, which is not suggested by the author as an alternative solution to the water crisis. Remember, he gave a lot of suggestions, have lakes, have traditional methods, all that he gave in the paragraph, especially when you're reading the last paragraph. Okay, have rain capturing lakes, traditional means of water, do all that. What he says is not there is yes, B is correct. Very good, Bharat and Abhanaya. Yes, new construction must be stopped. Which of the following is not suggested as an alternative solution? Okay, now we come to 96, which is not an assumption. He says it is identified as one of the world's 34 biological hotspots. And this is not implicitly given. So it is immensely valuable. Yeah, it can be immensely valuable. It is endangered. Yes. There are many other biodiversity heritage sites that are also there. Yes. It cannot be one of the world's most ecologically sensitive zone. That's not implicitly assumed. Now, take the 97th one and please do, which is not true in context of the author's arguments. Which is not true according to the passage. Landslides result, yes, that is true. We have already seen. The threat to the Brahmaputra basin would not have been so grave if the infrastructure projects had not been massive. Yes, that is there. Few plants and animal species found in the Brahmaputra basin are not found anywhere else in the world. How do you say it's not true? They are saying there are special things only found here. So C is also accepted. D says it is not true according to the passage. The dam constructions on the Brahmaputra by China and by India threaten the livelihood of the people as they block the silt which makes the agricultural land fertile. So they are saying here, did they say that it got blocked? They are saying in general. Okay, they are saying in general, therefore, only D is correct. Fine. I hope you are now getting used to a little higher level of thinking from the RC in the passage. Now, we have 10 minutes. So what we are going to do is we are taking the Trichy plus material. Yes. And we will work a little bit on the we can do one closed test, because a closed test will give you everything. So you make your choice whether you want to do a closed test or you want to do vocabulary. Anything is fine with me. What would you like to do? We have 10 minutes. Okay, please go to closed test and we can take 41 to 50. Take closed test 41 to 50. If you want to know the page, I will also tell you. In the index, closed test is from page 14 to 23, and we are looking at 41. So please go to 14. 41 comes on page number 18. Have you got it? Take page 18 of your textbook. If you have got it, please let me know. Right? Abhinaya says yes. So fill in the blanks with appropriate words. Now, this time what I'm going to do is, I'm going to run through all the option words because it's vocabulary and tell you the meaning. Then you will be able to make your own choices. So 41 has got 5 words. Mixed is to combine things together. Weaved. The term weave is normally used when preparation of cloth, how the lines come vertically and horizontally. Join is again to make two things to as one. Associated means connected, and to compose is to write something or to think of something is called compose. Yeah, Abhinaya, you were correct. So mixed was your right answer. When you look at B option, the words are clumsy, a person who does not do anything neatly. Awkward, you're not familiar with it, so you are uneasy. That's what it's called as awkward. Funny, of course, is comical. Scary borders on being very strange or frightful. And gawky is again similar to awkward, where you are not confident about yourself. So dancers who have practiced, their actions are very fluid. But others who just learn for the beginning, their actions are gawky. Now, I've given you the meaning and you can start filling in the blank. No, it will be awkward, because if you take gawky and insert it here, these swords were of an. Now, an article will come only in front of the vowel A, E, I, O, U. So it can't come in front of G. It will come in front of A. So that's your grammar. Now we look at 43. Direct, strange, weird. What is weird? Something that is not very natural, not expected. Long and pointed. So they made light shields, short dash daggers. You want an adjective. So what will be the best adjective for the word a dagger? A dagger is a weapon. So definitely the only word that will fit will be pointed. The only word will be pointed. Good. Now I'm looking at 4. Delighted is you're very happy. Thrown. So you know what is the verb is to throw, and thrown becomes the participle through. Bought is purchased. So let's look at 44. And they say daggers, and they're not referring to daggers, they're referring to spears, which they jerked back, pulled back after they had dash them. So it is thrown. Good. We are moving on to 45. 5 simple words. Yes, thrown was the correct option. We are looking at 5 simple words. A sheet, array. Array is an arrangement of any kind of article. A strip could be a leather strip, a metal strip, a thin, narrow piece, animal, and stretch. So, what can we take for 45? By a long, and it is of leather. So, you can't say long sheet of leather. No. The only word you can take is strip. Excellent, Abanaya. Then 46 has the word divided. Divided means to share among so many people. Separated is to remove. So you remove the debris from the place. You separate it. Broken, something that is destroyed. Detached. Detached has got two meanings. One is you can detach an engine from the train, take it separately. And detached is when you are not overly involved in another person's affairs, you are detached from it. And segregated, putting different things in different places. So we're going to fill up the blank for 46. The ancient Britons means the people from Britain, and these were before the modern days Britishers. The ancient Britons, being dash into as many 30 of 40 tribes. You know, tribes are tribal groups. They are not all of one group. So, what word can you take? Segregated means I am going to put them into some kind of a classification. The word is they were not all of one. They were divided into so many smaller groups. So divided was for 46. Now for 47, 47 has the word said, commanded, presided, ordained, okay, and dictated. What will be the word? So there were so many tribal groups, and each group, what was each group had a leader. Bharat, which one you are saying? Option 3. For 47, the answer is commanded. Each tribe was commanded by its own small king. Yes, Kirtika, commanded is the correct word. Now we're moving on to 48. Eventually, gradually, constantly. Then you have either 1 and 3, that is either eventually and constantly, and you have none of these. So what's going to be the option? And these different groups were dash fighting with one another. Eventually means in the long run, gradually means slowly, constantly means continuously. So what will the word be? It can only be constantly. Exactly, that's the only word that you will take. Fine. 49. I don't think you have a challenge with any one of the words. Just see what you're going to select for that. And also remember that word has come in earlier in the same paragraph. You've got monkeys, horses, berries. Berries, a type of fruit, fruits, and land. Yes, it has to only be horses because earlier they said that They would frighten the enemy's horses. Yeah, horses. And the last has charmingly, yeah, Abhinay, correct. Charmingly, horribly, terribly, remarkably. Remark is not a comment. Remarkably here means exceptionally well, doing a job remarkably and specially. So, what can the option be? They could train them. Them refers to horses. They could train them and manage them. Very good. Remarkably well. Good. So this is about all the time that we have for today's session. Thank you very much for your participation. The session is now closed. Good evening and thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.